Hey guys, what is going on? Chris here with Shugghead Gaming, and welcome to my review of 2MD VR Football. Developed by Truant Pixel, 2MD is available this May 8th for an estimated price of $15 American. 2MD at its core is a quarterback simulator. This 2-minute drill VR-cade experience lets you take on the role of quarterback, tasked with capturing victory in the final minutes of a game. Draw the plays, call the shots, and throw the ball to take down opponents before the clock runs out. 2MD is a port of the PSVR version, which was released 8 months ago on Steam. Is this a good port or a good game even to start with? Put on your helmets and let's get into it. One thing quick guys, if you like this video, please hit that like button, and if you want more PSVR content from me, as always, please consider subscribing. And graphics are up first. 2MD VR Football looks good working within its limitations. By this, I mean a small dev team with a minimum production budget and VR systems that just don't have the power to deliver the football experience of sports fans' dreams. As a result, Truant Pixel has wisely chosen a simpler, more cartoon-like approach to the appearance, and for the most part, this works. While lacking much in the way of texture detail and graphical effects, 2MD is a sharp and polished game in the headset. Graphic fidelity at a distance would make or break a game like this, so I'm really happy to report that the game stays sharp and free of jagged edges and blurring as you look down the field. Your teammates are easy to track in crowded plays, and plays marked out on the field are easily visible. So basically what I'm saying is the graphics don't fail the game, even if it won't blow your mind. The first thing you'll notice is that your teammates are all practice dummies on metal mounts. This may take you back at first, but once you're into the game, you likely won't even notice. To be perfectly honest, I would prefer this silly approach to the half-assed motion capture approach we've seen in other small VR titles to date. The multiple arenas still lack that daunting scale I seek in sports titles, but do manage to make you feel like you're on a full-sized field. Crowd appearance is basically just stick people, and they really are only there for ambiance and atmosphere. It works, but don't look or think about it too hard. As for what's right in front of you, well, the ball looks great. It looks like a leather NFL football. It has a nice spin to it, and it really feels like a real football. Your body's wearing a jersey and gloves, and that's a nice touch, and it looks good. Special mention, though, to the feeling of looking out on the field with the grill of the helmet in your face. While hardcore football fans will no doubt be disappointed in the graphic concessions made here, all will smile at that amazing feeling only VR can give you of being in a helmet and looking out at your teammates. Sounds are up next.
Set hut. Woo! Mike 50. Mike.
Not unlike the recently released MLB Home Run Derby, crowd and arena sounds are serviceable. You will hear the prerequisite crowd chants and commentator calling out key plays, but nothing's too special. You won't hear a variety of anything, and nothing is really dynamic to what occurs on the field. Besides the major plays like touchdown and first downs, you won't find any play-by-play, but what is here is done well. What isn't really done that well, however, is the music choices. In the locker room, you can choose a team song from a variety of generic tunes. After a few rounds, you will be turning these off as there is no volume control, and the repetitive generic songs drown out the feeling of being in a football game anyway. Gameplay sounds are again serviceable. Player movements, tackles, and the like are all represented here. Nothing takes you out of the game, but there isn't a rich tapestry of sounds here to really immerse you in the experience. The only real sound omission is the lack of running sounds when you're running the ball. However, I guess to be consistent, the sound would actually have to be a bouncing metal post, so maybe it's better left out. In the locker room, the coach will instruct you on what to do and how to play. Voice work here is believable and a welcome change from purely text-based instructions. That brings it to gameplay. Those looking for a full-fledged football game, you're still waiting. What 2MD smartly does is focus instead on delivering a solid quarterback experience. You won't find full games here. Instead, the devs have gone for a more arcade approach and thrown you into short 2-minute rounds for the last push into the end zone. While arcade in its setup, the gameplay itself is actually satisfying, robust, and pretty realistic. As the quarterback, you'll do a pregame setup where you can choose up to 8 separate plays. Plays come pre-made, but for those who want to dabble, you can pick up a Sharpie and adjust the plays as you wish on the whiteboard in the locker room. Plays can be called out on the field in 2 different ways. You can either use the 4 face buttons on each move controller, or, my preferred method, you can verbally call them out by holding down the right move button and yelling out some like alpha left, which is triangle on your left hand. This really works and is awesome to call out audibles before a snap.
Cross right. Delta left.
As quarterback, though, you aren't limited to just throwing either. See a hole, then run it in. Need some space, then backpedal to buy you some room. Running is easy as it's basically just run and strafe with the face buttons. It should be mentioned I was never rushed by the other team, but that being said, I didn't wait around too long either. Regardless, the running game works, and if you don't respect the coverage, you aren't going far. Teammate AI is sufficient as they follow their plays and block as they should. And that brings us to maybe the biggest factor and the point you are all probably waiting for. How is the ball throwing physics? Well, I'm happy to announce they are fantastic. Being released and patched on PC almost 6 months ago has likely helped polish up the throwing mechanics, and it shows. I suggest heading to the practice field to do some throwing drills. Yes, every throw is a perfect spiral, but you're a pro quarterback, so better be. The feeling of accuracy and speed control is perfect, or as perfect as it could be in VR and with move controllers. When I had a worm burner or my ball got intercepted, I knew I'd screwed up in my throw or timing. I didn't blame the game. If the physics feel off to you, you can make adjustments in the practice range to tweak speed and height. Where the game really shows its arcade roots is in the leanness of game options. Difficulty level is about moderate as it has a learning curve, but once you start to get a feel for the game, success will come fast, and there's no difficulty settings at this point. There are 8 fictional teams and stadiums, so you won't find any official branding here. Besides training, the only mode is the core game consisting of a set of 2-minute games with a victory cup at the end. There are no leagues, seasons, or multiplayer, just a leaderboard. Tracking for the most part is very solid with only a bit of controller wobble in the locker room. You will need 2 move controllers for this and some space. The developer recommends standing and having about 6 feet back and 5 feet wide for space, and I concur with this. Strap on those controllers because you will be throwing hard for those long bombs. Motion sickness should be at a minimum as most of the game is spent standing in place looking forward. And if the slow running does bother you, you could probably get away without the running game and still have a lot of fun and success here. And that brings us to fun factor and my final verdict. I'm only a casual football fan, and such I may be less critical of the nuances captured or missed in a football game. That being said, this game sets out to deliver a fast but robust quarterback experience and for the most part nails it. It's shocking to believe that just like the previous soccer game, VRFC, a small indie dev is the first to deliver such a game, as the desire for sports games is high for VR. While football fans may not get the official licensing and a full-fledged football game offering with this, they will find a polished and focused game that works as promised. It looks like a small indie game through and through, but it's priced accordingly at an estimated $15 American. As you know, I rate games on a scale of buy, wait for a sale, or burn it to the ground. For football fans, this is a definite buy, as you will have a lot of fun. Just have your expectations in place for what this is and isn't. As for non-football fans, this is likely a wait for a sale or just a miss, as the game does require some football knowledge for play management. That being said, there is a Football for Dummies manual in the locker room, so if this piques your interest, have at her. Anyways, guys, that's it for me. If you like this video, hit that like button. And if you want more PSVR content from me, you know the deal. Please consider hitting that subscribe button. That's it for me, guys, and I'll catch you on my next video.